there's this talk that was given at BYU, Idaho, by Elder Renlund, or Robbins, called Making a Life, Making a Living. And I'm not going to reference it too much, but he goes through basically, he starts with Adam and Eve, and he says, with Adam and Eve, they were told to work. If you look at really the instruction, you're told to go work. So, basic instructions. There's more words than that, but that's what he said. The Lord said, go work. Okay, but he didn't have property lines to deal with. He didn't have conflict with other people that he had to deal with. As time went on, there were conflict. And that conflict is continued today. So again, different experiences. So now, then it goes on and talks about grading your business. We're all accustomed to grades, so if you think about, he gave a grade. Well, I'm just going to refer to the grading. He gives an A, B, and C level a company, and I thought he had it in a chart. He does. So he says, an A, he says, and I try to do this. I'm not going to say that I do it all the time, but when I'm dealing with somebody, I never want to have to say I'm sorry. It needs to be a win-win, or else I can't have a very good conscience. And it's not always a win-win. It's not always your fault, but it doesn't really matter. It matters that if I've offended somebody, I should try and make things right. So he says an A is love of God and fellow men. Second, so that's primary motivation. That would be an A. Second is motivation is income. Then he says B is money or love of money for the second motivation. So he says he's not saying money's bad. So C is love of money, indifferent to the client or customer. Okay, and then D is filthy lucre, and when he talks about that, he's really talking about damaging products. And then harm to the customer, and then the last is filthy lucre and harm to the customer and society as a whole.